Happy Halloween, everybody. And today we are reviewing Halloween, the 1978 movie. This movie is old, but hey, let's talk about it. So, it's about this boy who killed his sister in the 1960s and was sent to an asylum. But 15 years later, he breaks out and is on a rampage for revenge. And so that's Halloween. Halloween is, what can I say? It's a classic. Like, this movie has a low budget, like only $300,000. Like that's surprising for a budget. And then this movie made like millions, causing it to get a sequel. And it stars the iconic Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasance. And I gotta say, I think what people love about this movie is Michael Myers. As we've seen in this picture, he wears what looks like a William Shatner mask, spray painted, and you feel the most sinisterness of Michael Myers. With that iconic music, everything. Like, what's really good about this movie is Michael Myers literally stalks these people in this very easygoing town. Like, this is like a town you can see pretty much every day wherever you live. It just looks very ordinary, and we got this crazy killer just walking around trying to get people, and you feel the sinisterness through this character. And so this movie, yeah, it does open with the sister, and there's surprisingly some nudity in this movie. Yeah, I was a little taken aback by that, but hey, this movie's rated R, so what do you expect? And, Jamie Lee Curtis, let's talk about her character. She plays Laurie Strode, I think her character is. She's fine in this movie, just, I don't know, Jamie Lee has done probably a lot of greater things in her career, and she won an Oscar recently. And, I feel like this is her early start in this whole acting thing. Like, she's pretty, yeah, and she's quite, I guess, a fighter at the end of the movie. But she first starts off like she's a babysitter. She even talks to her friends about going to homecoming or prom or whatever, but instead she has to babysit these two kids. And as she's babysitting them, that's where Michael does his little rampage. He first stalks Laurie because she went to his house, the old house Michael lived in. And she knocks on the door and no one's there, but it's Michael. She doesn't know he's there. And I do like the scene where she's walking with her friends, and then Michael comes out of nowhere and just standing there. And like, Michael Myers, like I said, he's super creepy. He never talks, ever. In these movies, we can just hear him breathing. There's so much psychology in this movie, I feel. Like, what the mystery behind Michael Myers. Like, why does he kill? Why does he stalk people? Why did he kill his sister? Like, did he just become insane? I know in, like, later the movies, they do some weird stuff where it just becomes, like, some weird cult, like, whatever you want to call it. But in this movie, he's just a straight up killer. And as Laurie is like babysitting these two kids, they start to see what they describe as the boogeyman, and they know it's Michael. But Laurie's just denying it, even though she sees Michael like staring at her while she's in class, while she's at home. Like, it's something. Or standing behind a bush. But he doesn't unleash his full terror once he gets to her friends as they're talking on the phone. Laurie's one friend, she's kind of annoying. I don't know who played her, but I don't know, she ends up taking this dog outside, and I felt so bad because this German Shepherd, he ends up getting killed by Michael. I felt so terrible as I saw the dog die, because I'm sensitive to seeing animals die in movies. But she does the worst things in this movie. Like, she sneaks into this little cabin in the room, and she gets locked in. And she tries to go to her car, and she sends the little girl she's babysitting to Laurie's house, since I think they're like neighbors across the street. But what happens to Laurie is she ends up getting killed by Michael. He sneaks into the car and grabs her and chokes her to death, and then she dies. It's brutal. And but later in this movie, the other two kills, it's these two couples that go into the house of Laurie's friend, and we do get this sex montage. Yeah, and we see the girls, and that's where I said the nudity in this movie was disturbing. But the other part that happens in this movie is Michael Myers puts on some like ghost sheet, and then he pretends to be the boyfriend, and Michael ends up killing the guy by running up to him and stabbing him in the chest, lifting him up. Like, it's brutal. And then what he does to the girl is, I think he sneaks into the sheet. She thinks it's him at first, but he ends up stabbing her to death. And then what Michael does next, he turns these two into like a contraption or something. And then Laurie's starting to catch on what's going on, and then she goes into the house to see, but then she realizes it's a trap. And that's where we get to the final showdown in this movie, Laurie versus Michael. She is doing her best, and I finally see the in the movie Scream where Randy talks about like the horror movie rules. The people who died in this movie, they broke the rules, and I think he's basing off these scenes, for example. But Jamie Lee, they say she's a virgin, so is that why she survived? I mean, you people tell me, did Jamie Lee survive because she doesn't have sex? Because in this movie, she doesn't like smoking or drinking or having sex, and all her friends break these rules, and then they died for it. But Jamie Lee ends up hiding in this closet, and she uses a coat hanger as Michael is just mercifully trying to get in, and she stabs him in the eye, but somehow Michael survived. And what happens next is, I haven't really talked about Donald Pleasence in this movie. He's really good in this movie, even though he kind of goes insane as each movie goes on. His character is like a detective, and I do love the scene where he said Michael was just pure evil. Like, he just saw in his eyes, and he was super quiet. And basically he spends the whole movie looking for Michael, and then he ends up finally getting to him when Laurie literally rips the mask of Michael Myers off. I'm so sorry I said that. And we do see Michael's face. Yeah, it's just some creepy looking guy. Yeah, this is the only time we see him without his mask. I'm pretty sure we see in like the new movies, but in like the Rob Zombie movies, but in these original movies, it was just this scene. That's how mysterious it is. And then what happens next is Michael is shot to death by Donald Pleasence, and he falls out of a window, but then Donald looks, but Michael's gone, and that's where it sets up the sequel. The movie just ends with Jamie Lee crying on the floor, and then that's Halloween. Yeah, this movie is a classic. It's, like I said, it's thrilling, it's mysterious, and the other Halloween movies I feel are a little too silly. Like, the second one, I didn't mind it. I actually watched it recently, and yeah, I'm skipping the third one since I heard Michael Myers ain't in it. I watched the fourth one, actually, yesterday, and it was okay, but maybe the other years I'll review the Halloween movies like Chris Stuckman does. But anyway, I hope you all have a good Halloween. Stay safe, and thanks for watching. See you guys next time.